The Junagadh estate, when it exceeded 2 months before, 3 months before to Pakistan, the people rose in revolt. And the fellow, the Nawab, ran away to Pakistan and it was taken over by India. Sardar Patel, K.M. Munshi and N.V. Gadgil, they went to Somnath. And Sardar Patel declared the decision of the government of India to restore, reconstruct the Somnath. And Gandhiji said it should not be done with the government money, but with the people's money, just as we have done now here in Ayodhya. And by the time Prana Pratishtha was to be done in 1951, Sardar Patel died on the 15th of December 1950, and it fell to the lot of K.M. Munshi to complete the construction of that temple and also to do the Prana Pratishtha. Munshiji asked Rajendra Prasad, you are the Rashtrapati, please come and do the Prana Pratishtha. Nehru is going to object. Only if you are confident of overruling Nehru, your Prime Minister, then say yes, otherwise don't say I will come. And Sardar Rajendra Prasad defied Nehru, went ahead and did the Prana Pratishtha in 1951 May. And that was to be done for so many other temples also, but unfortunately Sardar Patel died on the 15th of January.
December. 15 December 1950.
1950, December 1950. December 1950. Now about Ayodhya also, what happened in 1949, 22, 23 midnight of December, the Ram Lalla image, statue came up. What was the word that we are using? Not Prana Pratishtha. He exhibited himself. Sardar Patel died very soon afterwards. People wonder, determined that no, this statue will not be removed. He was hounded by Nehru. He lost his job, and he started practicing law. His wife Shakuntala stood by him. And in the first elections in 1952, she stood as a Hindu Mahasabha candidate and won, and she was 3 times afterwards. And by 1971, both of them were members of parliament, 1971. That was the determination, the devotion of a true Bharatiya in order to recapture the history of India and live by that one. So that is the story of, in brief, how. Then there were lots of cases, etc., etc. I will mention. Right. Another 5 minutes, he said. Let me see. 5 into 100 words, 510 words. All India Radio Speak Secretary, 110 words per minute. So, that's a great saga. It is written in the book. I will not repeat that one. What is important is Rajendra Prasad, Munshi, Nehru could not do anything as long as Sardar Patel was alive. But after Sardar Patel's death, Nehru said, by accident of birth, I am a Hindu. By I am Muslim. I am a British. I am British. And he told India's, America's ambassador, Kenneth Galbraith in India, I am the last to return to rule India. It is because of such people that most of the temples now, let me finish this. Just as this battle for Ayodhya went on for 500 years, and the Supreme Court had to intervene, Allahabad High Court, has already said in 2010 that it is built over a Rama temple. 3 judges, one of them was a Muslim. Similarly, 2019 Supreme Court judgment also out of the 5 judges, one of them is a Muslim who is now the governor of Andhra Pradesh. So these In the night 2010, Allahabad was established that there was a temple and the temple was smashed and the mosque came. Then there were 14 appeals to the Supreme Court for the next 9 years. Now, shall we repeat this strategy? Now, Yanwapi and Keshwanath temple in Mathura, and there was the most important ones of them, like Kabatul Islam, the glory of Islam, which was constructed after destroying 28 Hindu temples and Hindu and Jain temples in Delhi. So friends, it's a great occasion, as I said, a wonderful book that would be reviewed by my dear friend and our colleague Ayodhya, former DG Police, and then for another good time, the intellectual warrior, Mr. Balbir Punj ji will speak. Dhanyawad.
Thank you so much, sir. That was Dr. Hanuman Chaudhary Garu. That is initials THC, which stands for Tripura Navy Hanuman Chaudhary Garu.
93 years young.
93 years young, that is right. And we all get our energy from this. As you all know, he works for BSNL, that is ex-chairman of BSNL, and he is the current chairman of our Prajna Bharati. We all get our energies from his dedication, from his work, lifestyle, everything. Once again, thank you. Now, we have with us Arvind Rao Garu. You all know, he doesn't need any special introduction because we all know about him. He has been the ex-DGP, Director General of Police for combined Andhra Pradesh, and during his service and even after retirement, he has been dedicating most of his time and whatever way he can think of for the cause of dharma. And he is here with us. Now I request Arvind Rao Garu to please talk about this book.
10 minutes. Jai Shri Ram. I am also inspired by Chairman.
No, Rama is first.
Yeah, better to say that I am inspired by Rama. So, Shri Balbir Punj ji, Shri Hanuman Chaudhary ji, Shri Srinivas Garu, and all the dignitaries, highly learned people who are present here. I have been asked to speak for about 15 minutes. But this book is a very important book, and I had noted several points. Probably it may take half an hour or so, but I will not speak all that. But I'll confine myself to some important points. It is a very, very timely book, and as our chairman, Shri Hanuman Chaudhary ji said, Shri Balbir Punj is an intellectual warrior, an intellectual Kshatriya, as Rajiv Malhotra would say. And these intellectual warriors are actually required now And this book actually, it gives the right perspective. It has come at the right time in order to give us the right perspective. And his approach is that it is not an occasion to gloat over any victory or anything. We have to be very cautious. He is very aware that this is a sort of ongoing civilizational war in which we have to be always alert and we have to be vigilant if we have to retain and go forward. So that is what it says. And so, of course, I don't want to comment on what happened about 500 years ago during the time of Babur or Akbar. But one important thing which I didn't know was that there is also a theory that it is not only, it is usually presumed by us, that the temple was destroyed by Babur. But then there is also a version that it was destroyed by Aurangzeb's lieutenants. This I didn't know till I read this book. I was not aware of this. And there is a lot of research. In fact, I read almost all the chapters, including some of these annexures. And it is a mine of information. And starting, a lot of historical information is available in this book. And the idea that it was destroyed by Babur, Babur is one version, but then Mir Baki, that is one thing. But the other one is Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb thing, that aspect I didn't know. So that is one point. And this issue of Ram Mandir was in the courts right from 1822. And in 1855, this Awadh, the kingdom of Awadh, it came under the British from Wajid Ali Shah, that famous Shatranj ke Khiladi. So from them, the British took over that Awadh kingdom, and from that time, the British were handling this particular case. And this book contains a lot of information about Mr. Nehru, Pandit Nehru, we should say. So this Pandit Nehru, what he did, and then how great this Pandit was, we do not know, because his book also is titled Tryst with the Destiny. We are aware of this, Tryst with the Destiny. And Tryst is, again, a very tricky word. Tryst actually means it is a meeting between two people who have some romantic relationship. That is what is a tryst. So, and Nehru's tryst was probably unfortunate tryst because it was not with a legitimate wife, but it was an illegitimate tryst probably. So that is the reason why Nehru could not appreciate the dharma, the Sanatana dharma of this land. And he always had some disdain, contempt for this particular dharma. So it was very unfortunate that at a very critical moment of history, we had a leader who was having a sort of disdain for this particular, dharma. And a lot of information is there about Nehru, there is one chapter called Nehru versus all others. As Hanuman Chaudhary just now said, all other people were willing to have that Somnath temple. But Nehru was one man who was putting a lot of pressure on so many people, including on K.M. Munshi, saying that you are promoting Hindu revivalism. So Nehru was a person who did all this, and we never knew any of these things in our history. And his disdain for Hindu civilization, it only shows that his poor understanding of our tradition. And anybody who has an idea about the egalitarian and very liberal tradition which we have, nobody would have felt like that. And we usually have an impression that Nehru was such a learned man, but probably all his learning was only whatever the British told in in London, wherever he studied. So apart from that, his ground reality probably he never had any information. And he was the first nominated Prime Minister. Of course, the Congress culture, it starts with Nehru. Because against the decisions of all these provincial committees, Congress committees, he was nominated, though no provincial committee recommended his name. So this is one thing which is given in detail. And in another chapter also, chapter number 15, Who Stopped the Ram Temple, we get details about how Nehru was nominated. He was because Gandhi said he is the only Englishman, he is the only person who can handle the British people. And we know how he was handling the British people. He was very good in chatting with them, dining, and then partying with them. So that is what we see. And his statements are also deplorable. Nehru's statements, these are some of these statements which we find in this book. They are really shocking. It seems he once spoke to Mr. Raja Rao. Raja Rao, we all know that famous writer. He said, enough of Rama and Krishna. 3,000 years of deity and 3,000 years of deities have given us slavery and poverty. He is said to have, said to have told this Raja Rao. Then he says he is attributing this poverty of this country to Hinduism. And this is precisely what the British did. And it is astonishing to see how Nehru was so totally ignorant about the fact that prior to the arrival of the British, our GDP was about 30%. And then when the British people left, it came down to 2% or so. And then he was also a witness to so many facts in his own lifetime, that the Bengal famine was directly due to the action of the British when they took away all this say rice at that particular time, and then during the Second World War, and the Bengal famine, millions of people died, and Nehru was an eyewitness to that. And Nehru also knew how our industry was destroyed, Indian industry was destroyed, how the shipping industry was destroyed, and how various other industries were destroyed, and how the classes were, how so many artisans were impoverished. In fact, in the Wikipedia also, very honest note is there about how Indian, artisans were impoverished because of this colonial policy. And Nehru was a witness to that. And he says that Hinduism or the Sanatana Dharma is responsible for this poverty. And he was so brainwashed. It is astonishing to see that this Panditji was so brainwashed by all such information. And in fact, I wanted to read out some paragraphs, but then I don't have time. So then, in fact, this very title, or rather this name Panditji, was a very, very misleading thing, and it gave a lot of comfort to many people. In fact, my own grandfather, my maternal grandfather, we had a big photograph of Nehru. Over?
You can carry on.
So my own grandfather, my maternal grandfather, we had a big photograph of Nehru, and he used to put kumkum to that Nehru picture every day, and then he used to say that, oh, he is a Kashmiri Brahmin, Kashmiri Pandit. So all the Pandits were under the impression that we are all ruled by the Pandit, by one great Mahan Kashmiri Pandit and all that. So he was successfully fooling the whole country that he was a great Pandit, and then he had absolutely no idea about the intellectual heritage of our country. Then after Nehru also, it is very, very pathetic to see. It is very, very pathetic to see that the government, the then government, that is at that time, the Congress government only, they were very unwilling to accept the amount of the abundant archaeological evidence which was there underneath. This is in page 199 onwards. It says, this entire archaeological evidence, it was so totally brushed aside. So that is what we see there. And the government submitted a petition in the Supreme Court saying that we can't say that there is absolutely no proof about Ram's existence in history. This is another stupendous ignorance, we should say. Is it ignorance or absolutely very incurable appeasement of the government? We do not know. It should be taken as incurable appeasement only. It can't be so total ignorance. Yeah, and in this context, Sri Balbir Ji has given so many details about how this Ram temple and about Rama, Lord Rama. There is so much of information in so many of our books. Of course, he has given many quotations from Hindi texts. And of course, the Sanskrit Pandits should be able to give many more illustrations. I myself know that, for example, in Padma Purana, people who have studied Srimad Bhagavatam, if you see Bhagavata Mahatmyam, the very first chapter, the first few shlokas only we come to know that Narada was in despair. Narada was moving around, he just came around, he was on his rounds to earth, and then he saw so many Punya Kshetras. And in all the Punya Kshetras, he saw only Bhakti, and there was no Jnana and Vairagya. And when he was narrating this Punya Kshetras, he mentions that Setu Bandha. He mentions the name of Setu Bandha, that is the Rama Setu. So that Rama Setu was a place of pilgrimage by the time this Padma Purana was written. When was this Padma Purana written, we do not know. And again, in Parashara Smriti, there are shlokas. Parashara Smriti, that again is a very ancient text. There again, there are a couple of shlokas. There he says, Setubandha pathe bhiksham chaturvarnyat samacharet. Somebody who is going on a pilgrimage to that Setu, Rama Setu, he should take bhiksha from all the four varnas. That is again mentioned. Setubandha pathe bhiksham chaturvarnyat samacharet. Setum društva samudrasya brahma hatya vyapohati. Even if you kill a Brahmin, that sin will be washed away if you visit that Setubandha. And Setum društva vishuddhatma avagaheta sagaram. After seeing that Setu, you have to take a dip in that sea. That is what Parashara Smriti says. Parashara Smriti, in fact, 4 or 5 shlokas, it describes this. Nala Setu, it was actually called Nala Setu. Of course, we call it Rama Setu, but Valmiki Ramayana itself calls it Nala Setu. I had an opportunity to teach the entire Valmiki Ramayana on the YouTube. In fact, my classes are there, about 200 and odd classes are there on Valmiki Ramayana. I was fortunate enough to teach the whole text. And then again, when Bharatam again there is a mention. In Bharatam, there is a big chapter called Tirtha Yatra Parvam. Because many people in Bharatam, not many, of course 2 people. Arjuna, when Arjuna goes out for 1 year, then these Pandavas, they visit so many places. Several sages come to them, and then they used to give some confidence to them, say that you will again come back to power, etc. And then they described so many places there. And again, Balarama, there in the Tirthayatra Parva, and also Rama Upakhyana Parva is there. So in that Rama Upakhyana Parva, Nalasetu Ritikhyato yo adyapi pratito bhuvi. Nalasetu, it is called Nalasetu, it is still adyapi pratitaha means, even now it is very famous. So at the time of Mahabharata, this Nalasetu was there. There is so much of evidence. Probably Sanskrit scholars will be able to give more information about this thing. And then again, and it is very interesting to see how these left liberals, they create some false narratives and make people fight this left liberal. Hanuman Chaudhary ji also mentioned. And India, we should see that, we should note that we are in the midst of a civilizational war. It is not as though we have won anything by sheerly because Mr. Modi ji is there for the last 10 years. But still, there is a lot to fear. That is what I feel. And the one happy development, as I see, is that the whole world, or rather the Western world, all the countries, they are in the same boat. For example, America is also feeling the pinch of the illegal immigrants and then the pressure which they are exerting on the political system there. And the UK is almost gone. UK, if you listen to people like, say that Douglas Murray, and others, Douglas Murray, who wrote that book called The Strange Death of Europe. If you see that book and other books, then we will see how these British people are really worried about the very existence. There are some no-go areas in Britain. There are some no-go areas in America. There are some no-go areas in Britain. And then some people cannot even come out to the roads in Britain. Jews particularly, they can't even come onto the roads in Britain. So that is the situation. And I feel it is good for us because all these fellows, they have been lecturing to us all these years. And these people, I hope that both are Abrahamic religions and both are brothers who have been fighting for the last 100 years. So these people will find out some solution. And we will also be having an opportunity to probably take some right decisions to normalize the situation, we can say. So that is how I have got some amount of hope. And it is the fact that our history was distorted and all that is very well known to us. And it is good that the emergence of social media, in my view, it is a very great positive factor. And this Ayodhya is a small rectification. It is rightly said by the author that Ayodhya is a small rectification of a great historical error. But then vigilance, eternal vigilance is very much required. And we have a right to defend our civilization. This is one thing which we have to see. Because no civilization should say that my civilization is the greatest. In fact, ours is the most egalitarian, most permissive, and most liberal. In fact, all the great ideals which now people talk of, that is this liberalism, secularism, all these things, if we read Gita and if we read the Upanishads, we see that these are the things which are there. This is our core doctrine. That egalitarian philosophy is our core doctrine. If we see our text and also see the other texts, then we will know where we are. And the real self-confidence comes to us only when we read our own texts. So with this, once again congratulate Shri Balbir Punj for giving us a very, very timely book, this Tryst with Ayodhya. And his tryst is really honest tryst, not like Nehru's tryst. And we all have a romantic relationship with Rama. We all not only a romantic relationship, but a very devotional relationship, I should say. We all have that very devotional relationship, and we have to congratulate Sri Balbir Punj for having given us a very great, a very timely book to give us the right perspective as to how we have to understand this whole situation. It may be a small incident in history, but if we have to have a long view of history, in the long flow of history, it's a very important event. So that has been rightly captured by Sri Balbir Punj. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, the moment all of us have been waiting for is here. Now we'll have the book launch, and I request Anandaji, member of our Prajna Bharati, to assist us with the process.
Like all the people, all the details. Nehru was defeated by Patel in 1950 as for a government question. Nehru put up proclaiming.
Now I request
Put up Maharshi Tandon, and Nehru's man was totally defeated. So that was after Gandhi's death. Because as long as Gandhi was there, this paper card who was keeping up on this.
Now, may I request Sri Balbir Punj, the author and speaker for this evening, to talk about his book. No time limit for you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Chandrasekhar ji. He said very generously, no time limit for you. I am reminded of a function which I attended about 2 decades back in Chandigarh. It was 12:30, and the program didn't mention how much time I had. So before starting on the mic, I asked the organizer, sir, how long can I talk or speak? He said, sir, you can speak as long as you want, but we will break for lunch exactly at 1 o'clock. When I was coming, planning to come to Hyderabad for this function and working out details with Srinivasji on phone, and date was still not decided. So one of my friends who belongs to our school of thought, he asked me, Balbirji, I believe you are going to Hyderabad. I don't know, we are deciding on a program. He said, then have you fixed up with Hanuman Chaudhary ji to meet? No. But I will definitely meet him. He said, the program is not decided. You are not fixed with him. How are you sure that you will meet Hanuman Chaudhary ji? I said, भाई, राम जी की बात हो रही है, हनुमान कैसे नहीं आएंगे? हनुमान जी की बात हो रही है, तो हनुमान जी तो inevitably turns up. And don't know in this audience who is Hanuman ji. Of course, Hanuman ji Chaudhary is here. Then we had Arvind Rao ji, former DGP of Police, United Andhra. But more than that, his introduction should include, he is the author of Indic Religions, Challenges for Survival. He presented me with a copy when I came to the function. I scanned through it. It's a very useful book, and we must compliment for him for this book. Thank you, Raji. Rajesh Kumar ji, then of course Srinivas ji, and Mr. Raghu, and friends. Hanuman ji has already set a precedent. No good evening, no namaste, Ram Ram. बोलने पे बड़ा पुण्य मिलता है. राम राम. राम राम. Now, this book was written in 4 months. And even if you offer me a ton of money and want to commission me to write such a book in 4 months, I will say no, because it's impossible to write such a book in 4 months' time. It's more than 400 pages. As Hanuman Chaudhary ji and Arvind Rao ji certified, it's a very well-researched book. It's not something what you can say born out just of emotions. It's strictly based on facts and arguments. This was possible only because Ramji wanted me to write the book. There is no other way I could have written it. It was just Ramji motivating me. And those days, in fact, I was supposed to visit London, where my younger daughter lives. We had got the tickets. The program was made for a month. That program was given goodbye. No birthdays, no marriage anniversaries, no parties, no dinners, which were a very essential part of Delhi's useless social life. Day and night, Ramji and his book. But when I say so, if you find any error in the book, and there may be, don't blame me Ramji for that, blame me for that. I mean it. See, this book, when I was searching for it, I must have read about 50 books in English. I mentioned quite a few in the beginning. About 7, 8 of them, which try to give the correct perspective about the problem. Most of the books written in English, maybe over 40, which I have read, and maybe even more, they make about 3, 4 points. Number 1, Ramji is a fictitious character. है ही नहीं, evidence क्या है? Where is the birth certificate? And how do you prove that Rama was born at the very right place? Produce the revenue records of Maharaja Dashrath that he had a palace there. Number 2, these RSS and BJP, they are gundas. They stole away a mosque and forced a temple on that. That is the second lie. And third, that it was not a movement by the movement for reclamation of Ram Janmabhoomi was not a movement by the civil society, but was inspired totally by RSS for a political agenda. And Rama is a North Indian concept. It has nothing to do with the rest of the country. Now these are all either half truths or total white lies. If you happen to go through this book, you will realize that truth is something else. Now, starting with one, it was not a Hindu-Muslim problem at all in post-independence era. Mark these words. It was not a Hindu-Muslim problem at all in the post-independent India. It was a problem between Indians who loved India, who felt proud of India, and those who had colonized minds. 1947, till 1947, we were ruled by aliens for almost 1,000 years. 800 years of Muslim rule, 200 years approximately British rule. We were ruled by aliens from 15th August 1947 till very recently. We were ruled by alienated. We moved from the rule of aliens to the rule of alienated. They did not understand India. The movement to reclaim Ram Janmabhoomi started in a way, rather restarted after independence, when on 23rd December 1949, mysteriously, Ram Lalla appeared in what was called the Ram Janmabhoomi or the Babri structure.
Manifested. Manifested.
Manifested.
That's the word you use.
So, it was 23rd December 1949. Now what happens next? The first witness of what Hanuman Chaudhary ji called a manifestation, and he will like to call it a manifestation, is not a Hindu. It is a Muslim. And his name is Abdul Barkat. He is a head constable in United Provinces Police. UP, Uttar Pradesh was known as United Provinces at that time. He was a head constable. He was posted in the police post, which was just bang opposite Ram Janmabhoomi Babri structure. And the locks broke down because the place was locked. And Ram Lalla had manifested. So he was called by the court later. Abdul Barkat, you are on duty. Please explain how Ram Lalla manifested himself. Kya hua? What he said in the court, I have produced in the book, reproduced in the book. What he said in a sense was that I was on duty. I was keeping watch on the structure. Suddenly, there was a huge luminous light. I started blinking my eyes, but I couldn't face that light. And out of that light, this is what Abdul Barkat tells the court. A divine child of 5-6 years with a glow on his face appeared out of that light. This is not a Hindu making a statement. It is not a RSS or VHP worker making a statement. It is Abdul Barkat, the head constable in the police. When I saw that divine child, I went into a trance. I had to close my eyes. When I reopened my eyes, I see all the locks of the building have broken down. There are hundreds of people. They are singing bhajans. Prakat Kripala. They are singing bhajans. So the first witness is a Muslim. And then, see, no Muslims had said a prayer in that building after a riot in 1934. 1934, Hindus had made a great effort to reclaim. There was a fight. It was British rule. The British government put down the whole, what you can say, effort to reclaim Ram Janmabhoomi with a heavy hand. And after that, no prayers were offered. In 1949, the Hindus expected, now that it is our government, we'll get it back. It was the, what you can say, the desire of the civil society. I will come to that point later. You must understand also the background. Till 1930, nobody talked about a separate Muslim nation. It's only in 1930 that Muslims started talking in terms of a separate Muslim nation. But nobody had heard the name Pakistan. In 1933, there was a student Muslim Islam leader from England, Rahmat Ali Khan. He coined the word Pakistan. What year? 1933. And look at the miracle. In 14 years, 1933, 1947, a new country is born. You give them 1/4 of India. 1/4 of India. Forgetting every law, history, geography. And here, after 500 years of struggle, Hindus wanted 2.77 acres of land to build a temple for Ramji. पर वो नहीं मिल सकता. You can give 1/4 of the country in the name of religion, forgetting every law, everything. Somebody can argue, वो तो अंग्रेज ने किया था. That was decision of the British. But that is half truth. Congress had agreed to that decision. A Congress party which could agree to the partition of the country on the basis of religion, I still can't get the answer why they could not manage to give 2.77 acres of land for Ram temple. It was against this background that people in Ayodhya demanded a Ram temple. You will be surprised, brothers and sisters, to know that fact has been hidden. As many as 12 Muslims from Ayodhya, belonging to Ayodhya, they gave affidavit in the court in 1949 and 1950 beginning that this land belongs to Hindus, this place belongs to Hindus. We have absolutely no objection if this place is given to the Hindus to build and develop a Ram temple. So I said in the beginning, it was not a fight between Hindus and Muslims. It was fight between genuine Indians and colonized minds led by Pandit Nehru. Now, what was the scenario in Ayodhya in 1950? The movement to reclaim Ram Janmabhoomi was not led by a RSS or BJP man. It was led by Baba Raghav Das, who was a Congress MLA from there and who was a Gandhian, and he was called Gandhian of Purvanchal. The movement was led by him. He was in turn supported by the Hindu Mahasabha. And he had the support of the local bureaucracy. Hanuman Chaudhary ji mentioned the names of K.K. Nair, ICS, Deputy Commissioner of the area, Gurudat Singh, the city magistrate, local SP, entire public. And Ayodhya was part of United Provinces at that time. The Chief Secretary was Bhagwan Sahai, an ICS officer. He supported the Ram Temple. Govind Vallabh Pant, the Chief Minister of the state, supported the demand for Ram Temple. Lal Bahadur Shastri, the Home Minister of United Provinces, who later on became the Prime Minister of India, he supported Ram Temple. बना क्यों नहीं? सब चाहते थे. Everybody supported. Still it took 70 years to come. कौन है? Who is it? Ramlala manifested itself in Babri structure on December 23, 1949. At that time, the country was facing a huge refugee problem. Kashmir had been attacked by Pakistan. There were so many pressing problems. But the Prime Minister of the country, Jawaharlal Nehru, found time on 26 December 1949, 3 days after that. Ayodhya was a small, sleepy town at that time. He sent a telegram to Govind Vallabh Pant, the Chief Minister, ordering him throughout the Murti, a Vigrah of Ramlalla, and start Islamic prayers, namaz there. It's on record, 26 December 1949. But he was so isolated. He later on, Nehru wrote to C.R. Das, who was the Chief Minister of West Bengal. Later on, I've reproduced that letter in the book, saying that Congress people have changed. मेरी कोई बात ही नहीं सुनता है. He was telling, but the local administration led by K.K. Nair, Chief Minister, they refused to implement his order because it was impractical, unthinkable. So they kept delaying it on one pretext or the other. Nehru was a vindictive man. Later on, he penalized K.K. Nair and everybody who was connected with the movement. Ram Temple struggle, I won't go into great detail. It continued for 500 years. And there was one Mahant Raghuvar Das, who in 1885 represented to the British government that we have got a place called Ramchabutra and I am the Mahant there. Please allow me to put up a proper temple there. The inspection was done at 3 levels. I have reproduced that entire episode in the book. But I'd like to read out 4 lines to you, which the district judge, Faizabad, Colonel Chamiyar, his name was Colonel Chamiyar, he said in his judgment, these are 4 lines, in 1886 judgment he said, "It is most unfortunate that a masjid should have been built on land specially held sacred by the Hindus. But as that event occurred 356 years ago, it is too late now to remedy the grievance. All that can be done is to maintain party to status quo." they were a colonial power. They had come here to rob and rule. It was not their responsibility to undo historical injustices. So one can understand that. But things should have changed when, what you can say, our independence have come. Hanuman Chaudhary ji was referring to Somnath episode. The details are known. I like only to add one point. 12th November 1947, Sardar Patel was in Junagadh. The state had been merged after the army action or police action into Indian Union. It was the first Deepavali of independent India. Sardar Patel announced there that we will rebuild Somnath. He came to Delhi, spoke to Gandhiji. Gandhiji was very happy. Cabinet meeting took place, presided by Prime Minister Nehru. Sardar Patel shared the details. The cabinet headed by Nehru decided not only to rebuild Somnath, but also to finance its rebuilding. Gandhiji said no. Hindu society should donate. A trust was formed under the chairmanship of a cabinet colleague of Nehruji, Kanhaiyalal Maniklal Munshi, and they started building Somnath with public donations. 30th January 1948, unfortunately, Gandhiji was assassinated. 15th December 1950, Sardar Patel died. Now comes out not immoral, a moral sense of Nehru. A moral sense of Nehru. Duplicacy of his character. Till these two stalwarts were alive, he was ready even to finance the rebuilding of Somnath. The moment the two stalwarts died, he showed his true colors and, breaking all protocols, he advises President Rajendra Prasad not to go and inaugurate. Damn it, if that is a decision taken by your own cabinet. If you are so opposed to building of a temple by the government, you should have got to say at that very point of time that I will resign rather than allow a temple from coming up. The man was totally immoral, and that is a harsh historical judgment. Now, and this trend continued. Manmohan Singh government, dominated by a run through remote by Sonia Gandhi, gave an affidavit in Supreme Court in 2007 saying that Ram is a fictitious character and there is no evidence of Ram Setu. Of course, it led to a lot of upset. I remember Dr. Karan Singh was my colleague in Parliament. So he considers himself, consider Lord Ram and that entire tree as his ancestors. He thinks that he's a part of that family tree. So he met me in Parliament after this affidavit has been filed, and he speaks to me in Dogri because I also come from that area. ओ पंडित जी साढ़े तो पुरखे ही गायब हो गए, सरकार ने कहता साढ़े पुरखे ही फिक्टिशियस ही गए. My entire family tree has been wiped out by the government. Later on they withdrew. And recently, when Rahul Gandhi was invited to Pran Pratishtha program, he did not go. You know why? There is no safe seat for him at all in this part of the country. Why not? Why not is 55% Islamic, Muslim. So if I go or seen anywhere in Ramlala temple, तो मैं जीतूंगा कहाँ से? So the Congress party had to choose between Rahul and Ram, and obviously Congress party will choose Rahul. I have described the situation through a lyric, through a share. तेरे शहर के कारीगर अजीब है ये दिल, कांच की मरम्मत करते हैं पत्थर के औजारों से. You try to deal with Nehru's and Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi civilizational issue. I am skipping a good part, but I like to mention a couple of things. See, one of the blunders of history has been overturning of the Shah Bano verdict of 1985. We all know the Shah Bano case, I don't have to repeat it. It was a Supreme Court decision. It was a Supreme Court decision. And Rajiv Gandhi, fortunately, unfortunately, he didn't have any ideological package. He was not pro-Hindu, he was not anti-Hindu, he was not pro-Muslim, he was nothing that way. Total blank. So he put up his young minister, Arif Muhammad Khan, who is the governor of Kerala, to defend the Supreme Court decision with all the arguments and powers in Parliament. Suddenly found thousands of Muslims were parading streets of various cities of India and very aggressively. So then he started listening to other people that Congress will lose Muslim support. He let down his minister, leveraged his parliamentary majority of 400 MPs and overturned a Supreme Court decision. Now what is the inference from that? Obviously Muslim got a message. If you can be aggressive on the streets, you can bend the system. आप सिस्टम को बदल सकते हो, ब्लैकमेल कर सकते हो. Logic is not needed, majority in parliament is not needed. All you need is aggression on streets, and you can bend the law to your convenience. That hardened their attitude on Ram Janambhoomi. That's the point I'm trying to make. Till 1986, none of them had objected even to all the protocol and worship that was carried out in Babri structure. The entire thing started after this Shah Bano case. And you must be remembering 1988 banning of Salman Rushdie's The Satanic Verses, a book which nobody has read in India. Can you imagine? A book was banned even before it landed on the Indian shores. And that further headed what you can say the Muslim attitude. Now, I was talking about the Babri Masjid. Fact was, this is a wrong word to use, Babri Masjid. Babri structure was not a masjid under the Islamic law and also under the Indian settled law. There is a very famous case. It's called Masjid Shaheed Ganj versus Shiromani Gurdwara Prabandhak Committee, Amritsar case, decided by Lahore High Court in undivided India in 1930. And that judgment of Lahore High Court was upheld by the Privy Council also. And that continues to be a settled law till today because Supreme Court in its judgment on Ram Janambhoomi quoted that judgment also. In that judgment, what is said is, I'll just read about 4 lines. When non-Muslim adversely possesses a mosque, that is to say Hindus, the Muslim lose all right in the land and building, including the right to worship. The building cannot maintain the character of a mosque, all rights of the Muslim being thus extinguished, including their right to pray. The person in possession commits no wrong, much less a continuing wrong, by not permitting or refusing the right of the Muslim to pray therein. This is Lahore High Court judgment, this quotation, 1930, upheld by the Privy Council. The basis is that mosque is not equivalent of a Hindu temple. Hindu deity has been recognized as a living person. Mosque is just a prayer hall. And wherever you pray, that can be changed into a prayer hall. Because of this Islamic understanding, gentlemen and ladies, you can Google it, you will find numerous, hundreds of cases of demolition of mosques by Islamic countries, particularly by Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has demolished hundreds of mosques, some going back to the times of Prophet Muhammad because of developmental activities. Mosque doesn't have that sort of a sanctity. So from 1934, there were no prayers. It was in the possession of Hindus from 1949 onwards. It had ceased to be a mosque, both under the Islamic law and settled, what you can say, the Indian law. Now, was that structure even a mosque? What happened that famous historian Arnold Toynbee, you can Google his name, well known. He was called by the Government of India, Indian Cultural Acceleration Society, in 1960 to deliver series of lectures. Arnold Toynbee. Now, what Arnold Toynbee, he gave the example of a church, Eastern Orthodox Christian Cathedral. You see, there is a little history involved. Russians had taken over Warsaw for 300 years, 1615 to 1915, almost 300 years. And they had built this huge mosque called a church, Eastern Orthodox Christian Cathedral. Poland managed to get freedom in 1915-16. First thing they did was to pull down that church. They were Christians. But Polish Christians did not consider this Orthodox church as a place for prayers. They saw it as a symbol of humiliation. And giving this example, Arnold Toynbee in 1960 said, and I'm just quoting 4 lines what he said. He said, Aurangzeb's purpose in building those 3 mosques, 2 in Banaras and 1 in Mathura, was the same intentionally offensive political purpose that moved the Russians to build their Orthodox cathedral in the city center at Warsaw. Those mosques were intended to signify that an Islamic government was reigning supreme even over Hinduism's holiest of holy places. So it was never built as a place of worship. It was a place built to humiliate the Hindus, the Indians. And people talk about demolition of December 6, 1992 as a big crime, constitution khatam ho gaya, Gandhi ke desh mein aisa kaisa ho sakta hai? I've quoted in my book, Gandhiji was asked a question, if somebody builds a mosque on your land forcibly, what should be done? And Gandhiji answered that question in Young India on 5th February 1925. And I'm just reading 4 lines out of his reply. If A is in possession of his land and someone comes to build some things on it, be it even a mosque, A has the right at the first opportunity of pulling down this structure. Mark these words. This is Gandhiji says. Any building of the shape of a mosque is not a mosque. If A has not will or the capacity to destroy the building, miscalled mosque, he has the right of going to the law court to have the building pulled down. Karsevko ne kya kiya bhai? What did they do on 6th December 1992? Exactly what Gandhiji had advised them in 1925, 5th February 1925. They were following only Gandhiji's instructions. And when this book appeared, few journalist friends, Balbirji, we don't believe Gandhiji could have said it. I said, Gandhiji said it. How could he say such a thing? I said, I can't answer that question. How could Gandhiji say such a thing? But he did say such a thing, I can prove to you. Because it is from the collected works of Gandhiji. They landed in my office, looked at the book like this as if I have fabricated the book, took photographs, and went back shocked and surprised. I think I am overstaying my hospitality. I've almost spoken for almost.
Please tell the Hajia,
Huh?
Black Monkey.
Oh, well, see, there are endless. What Hanuman Chaudhary ji is mentioning is 1996, Krishnamon Pandey, the district judge, who unlocked Ayodhya. You know, when the case came before him, he asked the district administration, under whose orders have you locked this Ram Janmabhoomi? They have no orders. No formal order was ever issued to lock the structure. This was done by local people, local policemen, just like that. So he ordered the breaking of the locks because they couldn't find keys to the locks and opening of Ram Janmabhoomi structure. Then Krishnamon Pandey, in his autobiography, Voice of Conscience, he says, he mentioned 2 things. One, a monkey was sitting outside the court and top of the court whole of the day when the judgment was passed. People tried to lower him down by offering him bananas and peanuts and things like that, which monkeys will jump. But he just sat there like this. In the evening, A.M. Pandey, the district judge, was accompanied to his house by the city magistrate and SP of the area and district magistrate. When they entered, the same monkey was sitting in his lawn. And K.M. Pandey said, I was shocked. Monkey did namaskar to me and left. See, Abdul Barkat seeing a young boy, Ramdallah, K.M. Pandey like this. There is divinity. Ram is not fictitious. Agar Ram fictitious hai, to India hai hi nahi. And we are not there. This country is identified. We draw our sustenance. And this country will live till Ram lives. Pakistan और बांग्लादेश में राम खत्म हो गया तो वो देश भी खत्म हो गया. With these words, I take leave of you. I can go on speaking, but I don't want to overstay my hospitality. Jai Shri Ram. Just 4 lines I want to read, which I wanted to read, but in my emotions, I forgot. Just 4 lines. जो ना पूरा हो उसे अरमान कहते हैं, जो ना पूरा हो उसे अरमान कहते हैं, जो ना बदले उसे ईमान कहते हैं, जो झुके नहीं गिरकर फिर से उठे उसे मेरा हिंदुस्तान कहते हैं. Somebody has left 500 rupees here.
Thank you so much, sir. Balbir ji. As Arvind Rao Garu mentioned in the beginning itself, the book is very timely. And the subject is with so much of emotional connect to all of us. And after listening to Balbir ji, we now understand that he made sure to delve deep into the intricate connection between Bharat and Sri Ram, exploring how they are intertwined. Now, as he quoted already, now after listening to him, the book mentions the resistance, the fight to prevent the construction of the temple, creating false narratives, deliberate denial of evidence, twisting and hiding the facts, and finally exposing the colonial mindset behind all this process. Now, it's very clear. Now, friends, first of all, I would like to thank you for having kept your phones muted. And number 2, we have Hindu e-shop setting up the bookstall outside there. Now, this book, Tryst with Ayodhya, also available there. And there's another book which is reprinted this month in February, Political Islam in India, written by Sri S.V. Seshagiri Rao Garu. These 2 books are available along with so many other titles. These are all available at a discounted price. So please make sure you get your copy. And I'm sure you will have an opportunity to get the book signed also. Now this is the time for question answers session. Anyone who has a question, please ask a question. Here, Mike.
Ask a question, Indira.
If you have a question, please raise your hand so that the mic will come to you.
Mommy, you also.
Namaste, sir. I don't have any questions. I agree fully and totally because I have been seeing and watching and following the Ramchandra movement right from 91 onwards, and I myself have written so much about it. So I endorse fully, and the spirituality also, and the thought that is pervading what you said, that I believe. Thanks.
Please raise your hand. Yeah.
Namaskar to everyone. In fact, I don't have any questions, but I have learned after coming here. I have come to know many things which I was not knowing earlier. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vedna.
Thank you, sir.
Many people who don't read history.
Questions from anyone? Yeah, there is.
The truth about the Guru not known to many.
Rahman, everyone. I want to know, before Modi era 2014, what were the challenges faced by right-wing intellectuals, right-wing people, like in media, in journalism, everywhere? I want to know that. Difficulties faced by right-wing intellectuals before 2014, before Narendra Modi.
Rajesh.
It's a very interesting question. See, there were two, and there have been two, and there are two schools of thought. One represented by, in a way, by Pandit Nehru, and those who believe in his scheme of things. You can find traces of them in Manishankar area and whole lot of people. And there was another school. Unfortunately for the country, Sardar Patel died on December 15, 19. Too early after it. And that entire power of patronage passed down and Congress party's control passed down from here. There was no one question. And that set up a trend. And as a result, I won't call them right-wing intellectuals. I will call them objective intellectuals. They were persecuted. They were thrown out of jobs. There was no opportunity. Two things have happened now. One, you mentioned Modi ji coming to power in 2014. Second, even more important is the spread of social media. This has become a big exercise. Earlier, you needed the patronage of Times of India and Hindustan Times to make your point of view known. I would cyclopedia your copy. We would have no reach. Now, without any cost, you can reach thousands of people. So that has brought about equality. And now, what you call right wing, which I call objectivity, has an even chance on its merit with the merit to succeed. Yes, sir. Your name?
Hello, sir. My name is Hari. I've been reading some of some of your programs. And now I just had a cursory look on this because we're little late. You can give me a chance. Now I just wanted to know, now that you have written this, can we look forward to any trace with Gyanvapi or other Mathura also in this method?
I've written a number of articles on Gyanvapi, including in Hindustan Times, and I plan to write, in fact I plan to write a large edition of this book, another 6 months or so, revised and enlarged. And second, if Ramji's paper continues, I have listed about 35 Indian controversies. And I plan to write a book where there will be chapters running into 3,000 to 4,000 words on each of these controversies, so that we know effects and we know the articles. So about 35 controversies. And that will include these two also. We pray to God that He lives for 100 years and writes all these books. Sir, everybody is not Hanuman Chaudhary, who at the age of 94 can be so naughty.
So just to answer your question, so just to answer your question, Vikram Sampath is writing the book and the book is getting released on 4th in Delhi, Complete History of Gyanvapi. It is already coming in the next couple of days. And we may launch it again as well.
The question is, shall we have to go to the stomach again? Stomach again? Allahabad High Court has given a judgment in 2013. And Supreme Court is under 9 years after that. So like this for every grandmother and afterwards mother. That's why I said that the archaeological survey of India be tasked to survey all these and come out with different opinions, and then we will see what happens. I would like to read about this Jawaharlal Nehru, what Balbir Ji has written. Both in the case of the reconstruction of the Somnath temple in Gujarat and Ram Janmabhoomi shrine in Uttar Pradesh, it was a battle between colonialists, essentially apologists for the Islamic murderers and British plunderers, led by Pandit Nehru on the one side and the rest of the country on the other, including a bulk of traditional congressmen, most of whom were freedom fighters and leaders of repute, either at an all India level or in their respective regions. The two issues taken together, please listen carefully. These two issues taken together, unmasked Nehru for what he was, behind the facade of a liberal leader. Here was a vindictive man, shivered from his roots, intellectually dishonest, and a rank opportunist. This judgment may sound harsh, but is entirely substantiated by facts and Nehru's conduct. Now the Congress is taken over by Indo-Italians. There used to be Anglo-Indians. Now there is a family called Indo-Italians. So it is taken over by mother, son, daughter. And some people are so survived that they worship them, and but for them there will be no Congress. That's what they think. So this is a very, very bold and correct statement, because after Gandhiji's death, Nehru was proved to be a man of straw. Who should be the president of the Congress in 1950? By the time Gandhiji was dead, Nehru was creeping upon him. So Gandhiji was dead. Nehru put up Kripalani for the presidency. Sardar Patel put up Maharishi Tandon. And Tandon beat Kripalani. How? So he said, you know who is Congress? Who is this Congress? It is not Nehru. It is those who are opposed to them. And Nehru saw to it that Tandon resigns. This Nehru family has been a splitter of the Congress. He has been a splitter of the Congress. So in 1950 September, in Surat, there was a Congress which had to be anointed. Tandonji. Nehru said, you want me or Tandon? You want me or Tandon? It is just like Gandhi saying, Patel is defeated by defeat. So Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose defeated Gandhi. Similarly, Tandon defeated Nehru in a little cabinet. Now, Nehru saw to it that Tandon was forced to resign because he said that nobody should join the Yorkshire communication, etc. Just like Gandhi said about Bose. So this is the type of history which Mr. Bombay, Dr. Bombay is a doctor, medical doctor, but he went through all the so many documents and wrote a 2-volume book about the whole statement of facts. Conclusions are for you to take, for the readers. Thank you.
Thank you,
Any more questions? You have got so much time. Yes?
Please go ahead.
Very short question. Sir, thank you for a very illuminating talk. My question is, as you rightly said, that the archaeological survey of India should survey all the masjids which were built on the But one Vishwa Hindu Parishad leader recently said, we will be satisfied if these 3 are given to us. We will agree with this. He said, Gyanvapi and Mathura and Ayodhya.
देखो यार, जिंदगी का कोई भरोसा नहीं, पता नहीं कब फोटो पे हार चढ़ जाए और फैमिली का फ्यूचर, बच्चों की पढ़ाई खतरे में पड़ जाए। तो आज ही पॉलिसी बाजार से 1 करोड़ का टर्म लाइफ इंश्योरेंस कराओ, सिर्फ 525 रुपए महीने से शुरू।
సాయిరామ్. మరికొద్దిసేపట్లో ప్రశాంతి నిలయంలోని సాయి కుల్వంత్ సభా మండపం నుండి ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారాలను మీరు వింటారు. దయచేసి వేచి ఉండండి. Sairam, dear listeners, live broadcast of the proceedings from the Sai Kulwant Hall at Prashanti Nilayam will follow shortly. Please stay tuned. సాయిరామ్. మరికొద్దిసేపట్లో ప్రశాంతి నిలయంలోని సాయి కుల్వంత్ సభా మండపం నుండి ప్రత్యక్ష ప్రసారాలను మీరు వింటారు. దయచేసి వేచి ఉండండి.
गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सेदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीना भवित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम् ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यव उतोत इषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुत ते नमः यातयिषु शिवतमा शिवं बभूवते धनुः शिवाशरव्याया तव तयानो रुद्रमृणया या ते रुद्रशिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिचाकशीः यामिषुं गिरिशन्तहस्ते विभर्ष्यस्तवे शिवाङ्गिरित्रतां कुरु माहि गुंसि पुरुषं जगत्।
हेलो फ्रेंड्स, वेलकम टू अवर चैनल वंस अगेन। फ्रेंड्स, अभी मैं आपको बताने वाला हूँ नारायणा इंफ्रा का बिलियन काउंटी करके एक बहुत ही बेहतरीन प्रोजेक्ट्स है जो गच्चीबौली और बहुत ही करीब इंटरनेशनल एयरपोर्ट सारी चीज़ें हैं। मैं आपको ड्रोन व्यू बता रहा हूँ, देखिएगा। अगर आप अपने बच्चों के मुस्तकबिल के लिए कुछ अच्छा उनके सिक्योर करना चाहते हैं तो मैं तो समझता हूँ कि इससे बेहतरीन प्लॉट्स, बेहतरीन प्रॉपर्टी आपको नहीं मिलेगी और बहुत ही काफ़ी कम दामों में। ये देखिएगा, मेन रोड से जो है ये जेपी दरगाह का कमान है, ठीक है। यहाँ पे आपको LV प्रसाद आई इंस्टीट्यूट, नाटको आई सेंटर और नाटको जैसी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज, PNG कंपनीज बहुत सारे हैं जो आपको, मैं समझता हूँ कि आबादी से एकदम बिल्कुल करीब जुड़ा हुआ, जहाँ पे आपको हर वो चीज़ की सहूलतें, लाइक बस हो, ठीक है, और हर चीज़, पेट्रोल पंप्स चाहे स्कूल्स हो, हर वो चीज़ आपको इसमें मिल जाएगी, ठीक है। तो देखिए वाला ये स्कूल है, तो बहुत ही मैं समझता हूँ ज़रूरत की हर वो चीज़ यहाँ पर मौजूद है। ये वाला आपको पेट्रोल पंप, ठीक है, वह सुपर मार्केट्स, ईच एंड एवरीथिंग आपको मिल जाएगा। यहाँ पर बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज हैं, ये PNG कंपनी है, ठीक है। और अभी तो ये माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का भी अंडर कंस्ट्रक्शन प्रोजेक्ट चल रहा है, और मैं समझता हूँ चंद ही दिनों में ये भी आपको ओपन हो जाएगा, ठीक है। तो बहुत ही अच्छा डेवलपमेंट आया है। जो एक्चुअली ये लोकेशन जो है आपको कुनगागुड़ा विलेज, जेपी दरगाह शादनगर पे है, ठीक है, और जेपी दरगाह के बिल्कुल ही करीब है। और जेपी दरगाह को तो कौन नहीं जानता, बहुत ही फेमस दरगाह मानी जाती है जेपी दरगाह, ठीक है। ये वाला जेपी दरगाह है। तो अगर आप अपने बच्चों का मुस्तकबिल सिक्योर करना चाहते हैं, अपने बच्चों को मुस्तकबिल के लिए अच्छी प्रॉपर्टी रखना चाहते हैं, उनका फ्यूचर अच्छा बनाना चाहते हैं, तो इससे बेहतरीन आपको प्लॉट्स कहीं नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है। तो जेपी दरगाह से थोड़ा ही आगे जैसे जाते हैं हम, आपको एक 100 फीट का मेन रोड रहेगा। मैं समझता हूँ यहाँ से बहुत ही जस्ट मिनटों में जस्ट आप जेपी दरगाह से एक दो मिनट्स में ही आप अपने प्रोजेक्ट्स पर आ जाएंगे। देखिए पूरी आबादी है, पूरी आबादी, यहाँ पे आबादी नजर आ रही है आपको। यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी लोग रह रहे हैं। यहाँ पे आपको इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, ड्रेनेज, ठीक है, नल भी देखिए, नल भी मौजूद है यहाँ पे, ठीक है, वाटर, और आपको इलेक्ट्रिसिटी का, रोड्स, बस, जरूरत की हर वो चीज आपको यहाँ मौजूद है जो आपको होनी चाहिए। तो देखिए बिल्कुल आबादी से जुड़ा हुआ हमारा वेंचर है, ठीक है, जिसमें आपको बहुत सारे एमिनिटीज मौजूद हैं, ठीक है। मैं आपको ये ड्रोन व्यू बता रहा हूँ, देखिए, ठीक है। बहुत ही नारायण इंफ्रा वालों का ये बहुत ही बेहतरीन और खूबसूरत प्रोजेक्ट है, और नारायणा भी बहुत ही फेमस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है। ये वाला देखिए आप ड्रोन व्यू, और इसमें अगर मैं आपको बात करूं तो 40 and 30 फीट्स के CC रोड्स है, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पोल्स वगैरह, 24/7 सिक्योरिटी, चिल्ड्रन प्ले एरिया है, आपको क्रिकेट विंडोज है, बैडमिंटन कोर्ट है, इवेंट प्लांटेशन है, और 100% वास्तु का डिज़ाइन किया हुआ है। और अगर मैं साइजेस की बात करूं तो आपको इसमें 150 एंड 400 स्क्वायर यार्ड का ओपन प्लॉट्स मिल जाएगा, DTCP जेरा अप्रूव्ड, ठीक है। सो आप अपने बच्चों का मुस्तकबिल सिक्योर कीजिएगा और हमसे अभी कांटेक्ट करिएगा। थैंक यू फॉर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो फ्रेंड्स।
Want to build your website but confused about how to get started? Worry not. Let Big Rock come to your rescue. Your one-stop shop to get online. Begin your online journey with a domain name so customers can find you. If you're starting out, shared hosting can fulfill all your needs. Or once you've grown and need to scale your website and need cloud hosting. Or maybe you need powerful and robust hardware like a dedicated server. Whether you're a beginner or a growing business, Big Rock has the solution to build and scale your website easily. Get in touch with us today and take your website places.
शिवेन वचसा त्वागिरिशाच्छावदामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगतयक्ष्मगुं सुमना असत अद्य वो जगधिभक्ता प्रथमो दैव्योऽभिषक अहीगश्च सर्वा जम्भयन् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः असौ यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रः सुमङ्गलः ये क्षेमागुं रुद्रा अभितो दिक्षश्रुता सहस्रशो वैशागुं हेडहीमहे असव्यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतैनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः उतैनं विश्वाभूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयातिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीढुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानो हन्तेभ्यो करन्नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोराग्नियोर्जा याश्च ते हस्तैषवः परात भगवो वम अवतत्यधनुस्त्वगुं सहस्राक्षशतेषु ते निषेद्य शल्यानां मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव वीर्यं धनुः कपर्दिनो विशल्यो बाणवागुम् उत अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निषङ्गतिः या ते हेतिर्मीढुष्टमहस्ते बभूवते धनुः तयास्माद्विश्वदस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुज नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधाय नादताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुत ते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्माद् विश्वतः अथो य इषुधिस्तवारे अस्मन्निधेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्रयम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यवाहवे सेनान्ये दिशाञ्च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यः हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनां पतये नमो नमो बम्लुषाय विव्याधिने नानां पदये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पदये नमो नमो भवस्य एत्यै जगतां पदये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथा विने क्षेत्राणां पदये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पदये नमो नमो रोहिताय स्थवतये वृक्षाणां पदये नमो नमो मन्त्रिणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पदये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृताय औषधीनां पदये नमो नम उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते मत्तीनां पदये नमो नमः कृष्णवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पदये नमः नमः सहमानाय निव्याधिन आव्याधिनीनां पदये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे सेनानां पदये नमो नमो निषङ्गिण इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पदये नमो नमो वञ्चते परिवञ्चते सायूनां पदये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पदये नमो नमः श्रिकाविभ्यो जिगागुं सद्यो मुष्णतां पदये